system. So right here in the middle of the continent, we connect the Great Lakes and the East with the Mississippi and the burgeoning West and the Gulf of Mexico. This had the potential to be a great American midpoint. Again, we didn't see our first permanent non-native settler until the 1780s. His name was Jean-Baptiste Pointe-du-Sable. Jean-Baptiste Pointe-du-Sable was a black man of French and Afro-Caribbean descent. Spent his early life in the country, now known as Haiti. Before he arrived here in Chicago, he built and operated a very successful trading post with his Potawatomi wife, Kittihawa. It was right at the mouth of the river. Today, where present-day Michigan Avenue meets the Chicago River, and it was so successful. This was just a frontier area at that point. It was just the woods and the prairie, so something like a trading post for supplies was very successful. Others started settling in that area around Michigan Avenue as well. By 1803, the United States government established Fort Dearborn right across the river. It was the westernmost outpost of the United States at that time, thus very permanent settlement had begun. Got our city charter not long after on March 4th, 1837. Chicago is also a very new city. We don't have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of artisan and craftsmanship. We have about 150 years of people that decided to call Chicago their home and create this beautiful city in front of us. Now that's just a quick glimpse into early Chicago history. We'll return to Chicago history throughout our tour. In the meantime, we're going to pass under the Lakeshore Drive Bridge and the city is going to open up for you. It is a beautiful sight to behold. The best welcome to Chicago possible. You'll want to have your cameras ready. We'll pick up with the architecture when we come out on the other side. We are going to dive right into the architecture by talking about one of the newest skyscrapers on the Chicago skyline. 3 curving blue and green glass columns come together to create the St. Regis. The St. Regis, it was completed in 2020. It is currently the 3rd tallest building on the Chicago skyline. This is our city's 3rd tallest. However, it is the tallest building in the entire world, designed by a woman. The architect behind this building, her name is Jeannie Gang. Jeannie Gang is the chief architect at Studio Gang. She is a MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, and she is a Chicagoland native. She is from Belvedere, Illinois. The St. Regis, it was inspired by geodes, crystals, the shape of it, particularly fluorites. You see, although it has this curvy appearance, none of the edges are actually curved. Each floor is simply 5 inches wider or more narrow than the last, undulating every 12 stories. This is hotel and residential. The St. Regis Hotel just opened up last summer. It's got real estate above that. The most expensive home sale here was the penthouse of the middle column. Top 2 floors of that center column sold for $20.5 million in 2022. That is in the top 10 most expensive home sales in Chicago's history. If you take a look up near the top of the tallest of the 3 columns, you can see the 83rd and 84th floors, a little more open than the rest. Those will remain open like that on purpose until the end of time. They will serve as blow-through floors. The idea is that the wind will blow right through those floors rather than being absorbed by the core of the building and allowing for too much movement up at the top. All skyscrapers need to sway a little bit in the wind. If they were too rigid, the foundation could crack, but you don't want them swaying around so much that anyone inside would feel seasick. So the structural engineers have to come up with different methods to strike that perfect balance so that they're not swaying so much as anyone might feel sick inside. This is one of a handful of different methods for offsetting that sway that we'll see on our tour. On the left is very triangular Swiss hotel. It's got the horizontal striped glass triangle shape. This is from 1990, architect Harry Weiss. He loves triangles. We'll see another triangular design of his, some townhomes. He also designed a triangular federal prison here in downtown Chicago. Right behind that, you've got a building with some funky curving white balconies. These curving white balconies are on the face of Aqua Tower. Aqua clock. Each of those curving white balconies is totally unique. No two of them are the same. It cuts the wind, makes it more comfortable when you're out there. It allows for balconies higher into the sky than wind conditions would normally allow. Those mathematically unique balconies also allow you to lean over and talk to your upstairs and downstairs neighbors. Little community building element to it as well. Straight ahead of us, a little bit to the right, white building looks like a wedding cake with a clock tower up at the top. This white building with the clock, this is the Wrigley building. Constructed to be the Wrigley Candy Company's headquarters in the early 1920s. Same Wrigley as Wrigley Field, Wrigley Chewing Gum. This was their corporate offices. In the early 1920s, American architects did not have their own signature design styles just yet. They were still copy and pasting ideas about beauty over from Europe. We actually call this style Spanish Revival, as this building is modeled after a Spanish cathedral, the Giralda Tower in Sevilla, Spain. The Wrigley building is surfaced with 250,000 glazed terracotta tiles. The terracotta, it's great. It's fireproof. We love that here in the city of the Great Chicago Fire. You can glaze it a variety of colors. This is actually 6 different shades of white, getting lighter as you go toward the top to make the whole building appear taller. That terracotta is also very delicate. You cannot power wash it. It has to be hand washed once a year. I'm very often asked about the little footbridge between the two. That's not original, it was added later on. People always expect a very interesting story, and it is an interesting story. If you are interested in bank branch laws, you got people from the same bank working in both towers in order to legally be one bank branch, and add the footbridge between the two. It's thrilling stuff. Above our heads, the DuSable Bridge at Michigan Avenue, named for our city's founder, Jean-Baptiste DuSable. It was right here in the 1780s that he operated his trading post. Fort Dearborn was right across the water. Michigan Avenue used to be named such as is named such as it used to run alongside Lake Michigan. All of the land east of that in the downtown area is all landfill, mostly with debris since the Great Chicago Fire, which we will discuss more later on. Now this bridge, this was the world's first double-decker drawbridge. As of this summer, it is 104 years old. Straight ahead of us, you can see the second tallest building on the Chicago skyline today, and that is the Trump International Hotel and Tower, which was completed in 2009. This was designed by Adrian Smith. Adrian Smith started his career here in Chicago before he went on to design the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, which is currently the tallest building on the planet. The Burj Khalifa is about as tall as if you took 2 of these and stacked them directly on top of each other, including the spire. The Chicago Trump Tower is designed in a style called contextualism. It is in conversation with its context or location. Notice the 3 patio setbacks as you go up the side of the building. Each of these patio setbacks matches the height of an iconic structure nearby. First patio matches the height of the Wrigley building. Second patio matches the height of the Mather Tower. That's this rocket ship-shaped building over on the other side of the boat. Third patio matches the AMA Plaza, this black box building coming up right next door. Contextualism is so popular in contemporary architecture. These buildings are in conversation with the space that they inhabit, with the city itself. Recognizing the architectural history of the neighborhood, this building also faces the river. It's even acknowledging its spot on the water. This is very, very common. We'll see more of this as we go along our tour. Coming up next on the right, this sleek black box building. This is the AMA Plaza, originally the IBM building, designed by another very famous global architect, the German-born Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Ludwig Mies van der Rohe is considered the father of modernism. Modern style architecture looks just like this, just this sleek black box. Ludwig Mies van der Rohe believed that the beauty of the building lies in the mathematics and the precision of the engineering. Less is more. Why would you want to cover that up with any kind of decorative details? Chicago became his experimentation lab. We have so many Mies van der Rohe buildings here. They seem like a simple design to us today, but in the years after the Second World War, it was a very futuristic looking building. Next, on the right, 2 of the most heavily photographed structures in our city. These are the twin curving corncob-shaped towers of Marina City. Marina City is an entire complex completed in 1967, designed by a student of Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. His name was Bertrand Goldberg. This entire complex was a ploy to attract residents back to the central business district of Chicago, which we call the Loop because of the shape that the public transit train system makes around the downtown area. No one was living in the Loop after World War II. There was nothing to do down here. No grocery stores, amenities, things to do, places to eat, places to shop. So Bertrand Goldberg wanted to give them all of that in one complex. Housing up at the top, parking right below, office tower connected behind, movie theater, corner store, dry cleaners, restaurants, retail space, even a place to park your boat. Had everything that you could possibly need all in one place. It was like a city within a city, super successful in drawing residents back to the Loop area. Also very famous from the Steve McQueen film The Hunter, where in a car drives off the